14 hours remaining, 10 hours complete, 14 hours to go in the 87th running of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Time for me to take my leave and hand over to Graham Goodwin. Gentlemen, enjoy the night. We'll see you when the sun comes up.
(1 a.m. Central European Summertime). We're at the 24-hour race of Le Mans for 2019, the super finale to the super season, uniquely for the first and last time ever, 2 Le Mans 24 hours in one season of the World Endurance Championship. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me Peter Dumbrett, Graham Goodwin joining us here in the booth, deep into the night, and Peter, with 14 hours to go, 10 hours done, we're barely even breaking the seal on this. However, as we heard from Miguel Molinar, one of the two AF Corsa factory Ferraris has just come into the garage, the 71 car leaking fluids, and Louise Beckett reported that the team have walked away from it. They're not even looking at it, so it is a terminal failure. And that leaves Ferrari and Corvette with one car in the hunt. All 4 Fords are still going, all 4 Porsches are still going. Aston Martin have barely got anything moving on track AMR at all. So Ferrari and Corvette now clinging to slender hopes, although the one Ferrari that's left is running first, the one Corvette that's left is running third.
Yeah, so, you know, anything could happen. I would say certainly Ford are looking quite good. You know, they've got all those cars up there. If anything was to happen to those front-running cars, you've got 4th, 5th and 7th from the Ford team. So, and then you've got one Olivier Pla who's dropped back a bit to 11th. But yeah, this is wide open. And as you say, you know, if you're Magnussen or Bomarito or Westbrook, you're hoping for a safety car to bring that all back together again.
And these guys are in that queue as well. Earl Bamber with Joey Hand right behind him, and Fred Makovici a whole second behind Joey Hand, so even closer to the back of the Ford than the Ford is to this Porsche that to the Porsche in front. So Joey Hand, we're riding with him. There is Earl Bamber in front, but Fred Mako, there must be his headlights in both of Joey Hand's mirrors. He's so close behind. There's the Ford. So where is the Porsche? Can't quite see it in the shot. On board with a 69 car. And in fact, Earl Bamber and Joey Hand are in the pit lane, so, or just fresh out of the pit lane. So they're beginning a stint as well. Graham Goodwin at the front of the field, Mike Conway heading into the night. We've seen the other car quad stinting. Conway's the only driver in car number 7 that leads Toyota who has not yet quad stinted, because he started the race and it was a triple there. But we were saying that with a 10-lap stint, they're barely going half an hour now between pit stops, the LMP1 cars. So it's hard work on the drivers, but it's really hard work on the team, because the car's back about every half an hour. There is no rest at all.
No, it is the era of shorter single stints, isn't it? With the P2 and P1 cars probably going shorter than any time in recent history between fuel stops. But Mike Conway, in particular in that car, does seem to have the legs on the number 8 still.
2 seconds a lap every lap,
yeah,
it seems.
He's been the gun, hasn't he? GT Pro, well, you're right, it's a single bullet in the gun for Corvette. It's one and a distant bullet in the manner of the Risi Competizione car, which is back out the pits and running for Ferrari. But it's a Gatling gun between the Fords and the Porsches, just waiting for a stumble. And you know, and some pretty big accidents, big incidents that have actually taken toll of some of the rest of the field. Aston Martin have had a terrible evening after what started out looking so hopeful. Just all fell to pieces in just what felt like moments. But GT Pro, well alight.
69 car heads into the pits. This is Richard Westbrook from 5th position, which is 1.2 seconds behind Jonathan Bomarito, the lead Ford. The 67 car fighting its way back up after what looked like it might have been slightly torpedoed below the waterline. The car was unsafely released during an early pit stop. They had a penalty to serve, but then they were just at the back of the queue when the whole field got jammed back up by a safety car, and so all of that penalty got unravelled.
One quick update, by the way, on the number 10 car. The double yellows were withdrawn a little wee while ago. The point of departure, it looks to me like that car has been moved to a place of safety. I'm not sure we're going to see the Dragon Speed car out again. There was a very interesting moment with Dragon Speed team principal Elton Julian a little earlier. I'll share that with you once we've finished describing the pit stop.
Well, we spoke to Elton Julian on air when Duncan was down in the pit lane, and basically he wanted to put the car out of its misery. He said it's been nothing but trouble. We're glad to see the back of it. Kudos to Henrik Hedman for staying with the programme and not just going, you know what, I've had enough of this. But he said the car's been nothing but trouble. And if it dares to think about continuing, I think he's going to go out into the forest with a gun and put it out of its misery. You know, he just doesn't want to see it back. No disrespect to Renger and the boys, but they've had enough of that.
I will add a little bit of colour to that from the quote that will be appearing.
I thought I was being quite colourful. Go ahead.
The quote that will be appearing on Daily Sports Car just a little later. We're fighting on, we always do. That's before we just saw Renger van der Zande pulling to a halt. Feels like a losing battle with the car. We've tried to fix the problems. Delara have tried to fix the problems. Ultimately looked like a bridge too far. We knew it would be like this here. We tried really very hard to get agreement from the organisers to run a different car here in LMP1. The discussions went a long way down the road. Ultimately, we did not get the necessary approval.
I can't believe how long he is. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Never mind, it's all good. We're extending our gap between P3, so we're all good. He'll be in either this lap or the next one. So 51 or 50 either this lap or the next one. Good.
Didn't quite get that one.
I got gravy out of the first two conversations.
Crazy. He said
crazy.
He said this is crazy. So I don't know. Surprised at the Porsche's pace, maybe.
Well, that was the Porsche of
pace?
Christensen, yeah.
Sorry,
and actually, the team were predicting to him that the Ferrari was going to stop this lap or next, and it was this lap. So the Ferrari has not stretched its fuel. It's not been able to creep an extra lap out. We heard early on, you know, within lap 3 and 4, lap 3 and 4, hour 3 or 4, the Porsche team telling their drivers, sit in the slipstream, save a lap, save fuel, fuel saving, Earl's saving fuel, you save fuel, they were telling Lawrence Vantor in the 92 car, and they did. They managed to creep out a lap on 2 or 3 consecutive stints.
So the question is now, will that Porsche need to pit next time around, or whether he can do another lap? Is he managing to stretch that each lap?
Yeah.
And in the end, will he be able to stop one less time?
Well, that's a very good question. Let's have a little look. One time fewer or one less time.
Something like that.
Yeah, one of those.
51 back out onto track after the latest stop for James Collado. It's Daniel Serra that takes the wheel of the AF Corsa's one remaining car in the GT Pro class. And see where he emerges in the order.
Okay, well, I can give you an answer. The Porsche won't stop for another 3 laps. James Collado crept another lap out, like Alessandro Pierre Guidi and Daniel Serra in the previous stints. James Collado did a 14-lapper last time. He did 15 laps in the 51 car this time.
Yellow flag, safety cars, wasn't it? So that's what made that possible.
And it's mostly 15 laps in the 92 car, and Christensen is now on his 13th lap of this stint. This is a double for him. Estre did a double before, Lawrence Vantor a double before that. James Collado was there a driver change?
Yes,
yes, there was. So back to Daniel Serra. So the GT drivers, GT Pro drivers are only double stinting. Well, come on. No, hang on a minute. As we heard earlier on, this is a qualifying lap pace race, basically. You know, we were talking the other day, somebody said, when did this become a sprint race rather than an endurance race? And my answer actually was effectively 91, when those 3 Grand Prix drivers beat the living daylights out of the Mazda Speed car, and it still held up all the way to the finish. They were They were driving it like they were trying to break it to get to bed early. It was just a series of Grand Prix for them. It was 20-odd, 21, 22 Grand Prix races. But I'm not sure that outside the last couple of seasons we've seen so concerted a hard, fast, bitterly contested, not as in animosity, but pace-wise, GT race. I don't see how this can get any more pro than it is at the moment, the GT category.
Yeah, the cars are just so reliable nowadays. That's the thing. It's the days of protecting the car and, you know, just getting it to the end, they're over. And you see how hard they're pushing right off the track, you know, and they can kind of get away with that a little bit more in this darker conditions. They're not getting sprung for the same warnings that they were getting in the daylight for running out wide with four wheels off the track.
Well, they're doing 353s, 354s at the moment in the dark, and the fastest lap of a GT car in qualifying was Nicky Team's 348.000. So they are on an 8.8 mile circuit within a little over 4 seconds of qualifying pace. I mean, it is ridiculously fast.
And has been. It's been, well, a dogfight. I keep coming back to that, that same phrase, but a dogfight. And still we have multiple cars within just tiny margins in this stream of cars. Fred Makovic with Earl Bamber.
It does take a turn of luck, like those two front-running cars. The Porsche and the AF Corsa Ferrari, just to get that extra little benefit from the safety car coming in at the right time for them and the wrong time for the rest of the bunch. And but as we've said, that could change very quickly. One more safety car at the wrong time, and it brings them all back together.
And the other thing now is that Magnussen is sort of all on his own, stranded in the middle. He's been dropped by the breakaway, but the peloton hasn't caught him in Peter's cycling terms. Daniel Serra, having just stopped, is a minute and change behind Michael Christensen. Christensen will stop at the lap after this, and then that will rectify itself. They'll be back together. Magnussen only 16 seconds behind Serra, so when Serra stops, Magnussen is, right back in it with that Ferrari and the Corvette. And then there's the minute back to Bamber's Porsche, Makovic's Porsche, Bomarito's Ford, Hans Ford, and Scott Dixon's Ford. So that battle of the two Porsches and those three Fords is all very close together indeed. So we've got these little stories starting to play out, and again, as you say, you know, with 14 hours or 13 3/4 hours left, these could all either be stretched out or compressed right up at any moment. You know, the only thing you can expect at Le Mans is the unexpected. 63 is into the pit lane. That's why he was so close to the Ferrari of Daniel Serra, because he owed us a stop as well. So in fact, he won't suddenly back in. Well, let's get down to the pit lane. It's been a wretched evening so far for Aston Martin Racing. 95 car Louise went off really hard. What do we know about Marco Sorensen?
Yeah, it really has not been their race at all, has it? But the report is Marco's been to the medical centre. He's battered and bruised, but he's okay.
All right, well, that is really good news. Thank you for that update. I know there's a lot of fans of Marco Sorensen and Nicky Team over the years on the Dane train, and Aston Martin's got a hugely loyal following as well, Peter. And when you go off that fast at it, and Indianapolis is not hanging around, is it? It is the fastest part of the circuit, the approach to Indy.
Yeah.
That and going into the tyre barriers, driver's side first, then you are always a little worried.
Yes, you know, Marco would have known exactly what was happening there, and that he was about to have a big impact and just try to fold himself up as small as possible and let go of the wheel. Thankfully, those cars are very strong. Left-hand drive car, which is a little bit strange for a British manufacturer, but Aston Martin make left-hand drive race cars, and straight in driver's side. The wall took the punishment very well. It did buckle a bit for the car, and therefore reduced the impact a little bit, but yeah, he's going to be pretty sore tomorrow.
Lawrence Vantor waiting to take over the race leader in GTE Pro. He'll take over from Michael Christensen at the end of Christensen's next lap, if my counting is correct. It rarely is.
So my question is, I wonder if AF Course can react at all to Porsche, whether there's any chance they can extend.
All good. In the car in front of you and few tires like you. Copy.
How can you copy that? What on earth did he say there?
I think they're getting a lot easier and better radio transmissions than we're actually hearing.
Yeah.
I think they can hear it and we can't. But the car in front of you, I guess that's Earl Bamber.
Yeah, that's Earl.
Yeah, a little bit of information and saying that, yeah, maybe this is a fight for position.
Well, it is, because the car in front of you, the one on the right-hand side, that is Earl Bamber, and there is the man who is trying to decipher that goldfish language, and that's Fred Makovici. They've gone round the Kessel Racing Ferrari. That's one of the AM class cars. And so Earl Bamber, Fred Makovici, they were 3300ths of a second apart at the last timing line, and that is 2 car lengths at this speed. And here we go down to Indianapolis, and there, that's where it was the moment Sorensen hit the brakes, wasn't it? You saw exactly where the nose of the car we're riding with dipped, and that's exactly where those skid marks started. Something went the moment he hit the brakes in the Aston. So that's exactly where that was. As if they weren't having a tough enough night already, by Colles, Tom Dillman is in the pit lane to serve a drive-through for another offence.
That was overtaking during the safety car period for the Bicolis. Bicolis is I think the last running car now, is it not?
Overtook 2 cars. Yes, it is, because the car in front of it, Marco Sorensen, which is nominally 56th to the Bicolis' 57th, isn't running, nor is the 98, nor is the 88. I mean, AMR, is this our pro leader still? Yes, it is. Jeroen Bleekemolen in the Keating Motorsport Ford. First time we've ever seen a Ford GT in the AM class here, Graham Goodwin.
And still by a distance, about half a lap. Part of that gifted by safety car, but the pace has been great. And, you know, questions being asked here, whether or not they pulled a bit of a blinder in terms of the BOP for that car. Let's wait and see.
The problem for the FIA and the ACO is that the car hasn't been in privateer hands before now, so they've got nothing to judge it on.
Yep.
You can't give them the factory driver BOP because it's not full of factory drivers.
Absolutely, but I can certainly say that certainly from the running we saw in practice and qualifying, Jeroen Bleekemolen was very careful not to give them anything more to work on either. But, you know, absolutely, this is first time we've seen this car in this class. My guess is it won't be the last. My guess is it won't be the only one.
No.
But it is running there. It gives us a great story to talk about. But there is an awfully long way to the end of this race, and all sorts of things could happen in the direction of the very beautiful number 85 Ford.
We're not even halfway there, are we? But I was talking last night to the folks from Wins who got aboard this program very, very late, but also very quickly. It all happened within a week of the team owner, Ben Keating, flicking through some old photos, looking for historic livery to go on the car, and he spotted the Wins 962, and he went, hey, I'm a customer of their customers. We work with those guys. Got on the phone. They're over here, and they've come over from Florida, and I said to them, what's the most sort of the thing that's hit you most about being here at Le Mans? And they went, how long the days are. You know, they get 12 hours of dark and 12 hours of light, whatever the weather is in Florida. I say, it's light at 4 in the morning. It doesn't get dark until 11. What's going on with this nonsense? In comes the 92 car. This is our race leader in the GTE Pro class. Out will get Michael Christensen. Lawrence Vantor there, already into the seat. Peter, this is so much a part of the race, is how quickly a driver can fold himself in with the helmet through this tiny door aperture with the door bars, the intrusion bars, the wings on the side of the seat. You're always some kind of contortionist.
Well, that's it, and the car's already on the ground, so the tyres have been done. They're just waiting on the fuel now. So Vantor will be doing the final checks, getting his belts nice and tight, gloves on, you know, everything sorted out, and then he's ready to go, fire the car, and he's off. So that's something they've practiced a lot in, and you know, generally speaking, the you get on top of that pretty quickly. It's not an issue to get ready in time.
Let's just put this into perspective. He's down and he's gone. Time in the pits, that's from coming in to going out, not sat stationary. 1 minute and 10 seconds, 70 seconds. Within 70 seconds of you pulling up to a pump in a gas station, I bet you haven't even got the nozzle out of the holster, never mind anything else.
Trouble for the 49 car. That's the RC Bratislava car running wide at Menage, clips the barrier. And that's not done that car any favours whatsoever. The car has made its way back now with Henning Enqvist at the wheel to the pit lane.
That car's had several offs, including ones at that corner. I've seen that off quite a few times, so they're living and learning with that one.
Well, they and Inter Europol have been sort of battling with Racing Team Netherlands at the tail of the LMP2 class. They've been joined down there now by high class racing as well. Those cars are they've all had a few little issues. They're all several laps apart from the lead group. And so too, actually, seeing the 82 car are the BMWs in the GTE Pro class. This has not been a happy race for them either. They haven't been off, they haven't had issues. What they haven't had, though, is speed either.
No, they've simply not been a factor, have they? In a race that's, well, been defined for me, gentlemen, by an excellent showing to this point by the LMP1 non-hybrids. Are they on the tail of the two hybrid Totas? No. Are they as far back as we've seen in previous years? Absolutely not. No. That's a great race in between them. More than that, though, of course, we've seen some fantastic battling at the front in LMP2, and much, much more than that, GTE Pro has been fantastic, world-class racing through the field with GTE Pro, and I have to say, unfortunately, at no point did BMW look to force.
No, absolutely not.
Well, they did early in free practice and qualifying, actually. They showed pretty decent pace.
One car got its way up there.
Oh, and the 17 car is wrecked.
That's a big shot.
That's the end of their race, unless that left rear wheel there is actually attached.
Karting corner again, claimed another victim.
Yeah.
That's Igor Rudzev. That was the man that put that car well in the position it sits there right now, for the moment at least.
Three red lights on the sides. It's in third place. Sebastian Buemi in second, has just left. Safety car now. Now already Peter's pointing at the green block on the screen. Where is this going to come out in our GTE battle?
The car, this one safety car is in front of the 92 Porsche. Safety car B is in front of our Porsche, of our GT Pro leader,
which has just left the pits. Yes. And that's Orodchev. He's out of the car. He's trying to remove the debris and see what's going on. Oh, he lost it before the curb.
He's dropped a wheel on the grass.
Big hit.
He's dropped a wheel on the grass. That has to be the case. We've seen it quite a few times now.
I was worried about the left rear. It might be the right rear is the one that's taken the hit.
Well, the good news is he's got under his own steam.
Yep.
And he's not a happy bunny, is he?
He knows more than to kick the car, because that's going to hurt. Rescue vehicles are there.
A lot of smoke out of the back of that Porsche rescue vehicle. I was
going to say, I hope that's not a light. That's not clever, is it? Obviously, it isn't a light, but yeah, a lot of smoke or steam or something coming out. There are the SMP Racing crew, otherwise known as ART. A lot of history for ART in single-seater racing, particularly in the kind of GP2, GP3 categories, and doing a very good job of running those BR1 AER engine chassis.
Well, as we speak, up into third position again goes Gustavo Menezes. The number 3 Rebellion takes immediate advantage of the, well, significant, we won't say terminal woes yet for the 17 car, but that is not going to be a simple matter. Big gap, meanwhile, Peter Dumbrek, you're spotting as the safety cars begin to take the toll on some of these battles.
Right, so let's see on our tracker, where is the 92 car?
92 is behind safety car B.
So is the leader, by the way. So where is 8? 8 is 2 minutes 32 behind, so the number 8 car, unfortunately on our GPS we can't isolate them car by car, otherwise we could flick through the numbers that we are looking at and see where they've got to. So Lawrence Van Toor, who came out of the pits, fresh out of the pits on the 92 car, straight slap dab into a safety car, not literally into a safety car, but into a safety car queue. Actually, Van Toor, Daniel Serra in the Ferrari is only 4.6 seconds behind him, but Earl Bamber, who is third on the road in GT Pro, is 1:54 behind. So is that a second safety car group?
I think they got caught behind the next safety car.
So third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. Dennis Olsen in 94. No, he's 3 minutes behind the guys in front. So third to eighth are still of a clump, aren't they? All in a separate safety car queue.
So it's not done
what we hoped it was going to do, yeah.
Oh dear, the 49 ARC Bratislava car, having snagged a tyre on the tyre wall at Arnage, has now got back to the pit lane.
That's... Now, would they have got back there before the safety car came out?
I think he might have done, but he will definitely have been dragging. If he's gone back in, he'll have been dragging bits. That will have been force majeure.
Pitting under the safety car is the number 7, the lead car.
Pit lane has just been notified it's been open, so they've come in. 69 being investigated for its pit stop, which is...
It's the Scott Dixon pedalled
Yes.
Chip Ganassi Team USA car.
Because we just saw Dixon take over that car not 2 laps ago. Left, right rear. Oh, that's a big hit. That's not going anywhere, is it?
No, I don't think so.
No,
It was this car, the 17 car, that last year, you may remember, I think it was Mateusz Zakian had the big shunt in the middle of the night and tried to get the car running again, but eventually the car boiled over, if you remember.
Which one had the big shunt in Sebring?
That was this car as well.
That was this car as well, wasn't it? They've got through a few bits and bobs. Now, if it hasn't broken the suspension on the right rear, then I'd be amazed if it hasn't popped a drive shaft.
He's not a very happy bunny, is he?
No.
I can't say as I blame him. Great run to that point from the
It just
17.
shows you it takes less than a second for it to all go wrong.
Oh, absolutely so.
And you know, in that instance, he was on his own as well.
Let's have a quick look. We can see.
There is part of our GT battle going through. In fact, there's quite a there's a good AM battle going through as there. Well, look, 3 AM Ferraris in a row, 4 AM Ferraris in a row. Fantastic stuff.
There was
Keating
one of the
Motorsport car has gained again from that safety
boy,
car.
yes.
He's pulled another gap because he's in a different safety car.
All right, 13.5 hours to go, and this is our 5th safety car, Graham?
I'll have to double check on that one, but the gap's okay behind the safety car. We've got the number 7 car still on pit lane, by the way, the number 7. So we may well be being held at a red light here.
The thing with the subsequent safety cars that come, if as it is now, Van Toor and Serra are well away in the next safety car, if we get another safety car in, say, an hour's time, the same's going to happen again because the cars behind have got no chance to catch up. So Earl Bamber, who's currently 2 minutes 50 back, well, it's almost impossible to get that back now.
I think the 8's just taken the lead because the 7 is still in pit lane.
If car 8...
It's stuck at the red light. He has taken the lead with the 7 car being held at the red light.
Right, now, I was going to say, there's no cars on the track. Why is the light still red? Well, the queue has gone by. There's Racing Team Netherlands going out as well. So
with the 8 car in the queue. So the 8 car has taken the lead.
So if...
Are they allowed to go full speed to catch the safety car?
Yes, yes.
But he can't overtake, that's the point.
Hang on a minute, why has 7 just stopped? How long was that stint? That was much too short. That wasn't 10 laps. 1 minute. Whoa. Oh, 3 minutes 40, of course, because they spent 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes.
It was 11 laps
safety car.
on that stint for the number 7.
You know,
sorry, 2 laps. 2 laps.
No, exactly.
It was 2 laps.
That was not a stint. What happened there? Why was he in the pits?
Hang on a second. Confused myself. It was 11 laps. It was 11 laps.
Sure?
Yes.
Okay, so he needed to stop then.
Yes.
But hang on a minute.
Could have done 1 extra lap.
That means the number 8 should have stopped ahead of him.
The number 8 did stop ahead of him, stopped 2 laps ago.
Just before the safety car.
Correct.
That's what decides races. There's nothing between them, and suddenly number 8 In fact, number 8, that's twice number 8 has got back into the lead because of a safety car.
Correct.
So every time these guys drag themselves further away from number 8 car, bang, safety car intervenes and slows it all back up again.
I'm still struggling to get my head around the safety car. So say someone had gone off at Dunlop.
Correct. Yeah.
The cars coming out of the pits are at full speed because the safety car's not, they haven't caught it yet. So it's theoretically more dangerous to have that than a full course yellow.
Other than the fact that the accident site would be protected by double wave yellows, so they'd have to slow through the accident site, and there is no overtaking.
Well, also, the accident site is downstream of the pits, not upstream of the pits.
But
so it's 8 miles away from the pit exit.
But I'm just saying, just say it.
Theoretically.
It was at Dunlop.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't understand why they have to go to safety car. Why can't they just be on full course yellow?
Agreed, because that was the whole point of full course yellow, make it safe to work at trackside without the need of a safety car to ruin the race.
It's Porsche curves again, that's why. It's where it is.
But the safety car's only doing 80 kilometers an hour. Don't get it. Here's our 4 class leaders. Sebastian Buemi back in front of the number 8 Toyota. The G-Drive of Job van Uitert leads in LMP2. Porsche leads in GTE Pro. Lawrence Vantor has just taken over the 92 car. And in the AM class, 85, Felipe Fraga for Keating Motorsports in the Ford GT.
So
it's just after 1:30 Central European summertime, 13.5 hours remain in the 2019 Le Mans 24 hours, and we are under safety car for the 4th time in the race. And this is because of an accident for the number 17 SMP car, high speed off for Igor Orodchev in the Porsche curves. This is the moment that it all went so badly wrong, backed off at unabated pace. Peter Dumbreck, not much room for that car to slow down after it started to swap ends on him.
No, that's certainly one of the corners that punishes you if you have an off there, and we've seen it several times this weekend already. You know, through the week and this weekend, we've seen the Alex Lynn, Aston Martin in the same wall. We've seen Olivier Pla in the Ford in the same wall, and now the SMP racing car.
And even though the walls have been moved back there, away from the track, it's still so quick there, and the cars are such on a knife edge that when it goes wrong, bang, there's nowhere to go.
We've talked about it. It's hard to see from the camera angles, but it's a very off-camber corner, so the car is always going to drift out there. And it does seem that a lot of the drivers are just touching the grass on the right side as they turn in. They're trying to get the full width of the track, and they touch the grass, and it suddenly makes the car snap, and round it goes in the wall backwards.
Toyota Gazoo Racing dominating LMP, the one. They're 1-2 ahead of the number 3 Rebellion, with it looks like the SMP number 17 car now about to drop out of the race. That'll leave us with 5 competitive and just about, if Bicolors keeps running, 6 actual LMP1 cars going. G-Drive Senior Tech Alpine 1-2, but they have been separated by the safety cars. G-Drive now with a 4-minute lead in LMP2, ahead of Senior Tech Alpine. Jackie Chan DC Racing cars up to 3rd and 4th, TDS in 5th, ahead of Dragon Speed. In the GTE Pro class, the 92 Porsche 1.6 seconds ahead of the 51 Ferrari. They're behind 1 safety car. Behind the next safety car queue is a 5 or 6 car train from 3rd on down to 8th position. That's 6 cars nose to tail. Then there's another gap back to the next group of GT Pro cars. The GTE AM leader, Keating Motorsport, are at least a safety car ahead of the 77 car. The favourites coming in here, perhaps, from Dempsey Proton. Dempsey Proton started the day with 3 cars. They've got 1 left. That's in 2nd. Project 1 in 3rd. Best Ferrari is JMW, with WeatherTech close behind them, and they are chasing Project 1. And at the end of the field, 95 Aston is out, 98 Aston is out, 88 Dempsey Proton is out, number 10 Dragon Speed is out, 64 Corvette is out, and the 99 Dempsey Proton racing car did not start. We started a still record 61 cars, and there are, between the halt and the lame, 6, maybe 7 that are out of the race. Well, it's as important to keep your pit crew fit and healthy, Peter, and hydrated and fed as it is your driving crew, because actually the drivers are off duty 2/3 of the time. The pit crew are never off duty.
Yeah, and certainly if you're in a pit crew of a LMP1, as we already talked about, you're basically only getting 30 minutes between working stints anyway. So, yeah, a quick massage on that mechanic's arm.
Yeah.
And bearing in mind as well, these wheels are pretty heavy to be lifting around. They're well trained, these guys, but you know, you've got to, you know, carry it with one hand and be as quick as you can with a gun. And yeah, it's a lot of work goes on behind the scenes.
Just look at the LMP2 battle. And again, the G-Drive Racing crew, I think for the second caution period in a trot, have profited there from the caution period coming out. I think second place car is 2 safety cars behind. It's 4 minutes and 7 seconds on what is around a 7-minute lap, with the third place car, I suspect, in the queue with G-Drive, a full 7 minutes back. So I think we've got one car, so the 26 car 4 minutes and 5 seconds ahead of the 36, which I would think is going to be in the second. It's 2 safety car crew, 2 safety car chains behind, with the third place car with Gabriel Aubrey, I think, in the same safety car chain as the leader. So a full lap back.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunate. That race was really on between those 2 cars. The 26 and the 36 cars were really at it, hammering tongs, but it seems that the G-Drive through the safety cars have managed to get that advantage as the number 3 Rebellion pits. Menezes getting out of the car.
Beton climbs aboard. Nat Beton being strapped into the car. Late addition to the crew from Sebring onwards for the remainder of the season. Sebring, Spa and here.
You know, the Rebellion are nicely poised there in 3rd place if anything should happen to either of the Toyotas ahead.
Absolutely. Well, we've seen they're going to be held at the red lights for how long? Well, where is the safety car chain? It's a long way back, actually, in the Porsche curves.
Might need to switch that engine back off.
That seems to be holding that car for, that's a long time to hold that car.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's not even at the chicanes.
Porsche out at the moment. It's just gone past the accident site. If you listen to the number 8 Toyota.
At the restart of the safety car, we will freeze the gap and we will restart the race when we are off traffic. Okay, copy. Just the gap is already around 5 seconds, so it will remain the same for the time needed. No risk in traffic to save your position, just clear traffic carefully. Okay, what are the tires? Fine? I guess it's in soft low temp as well. Yes, confirmed. They are new? Yes, they just went for a new set of tires.
Interesting. Buemi going, okay, what are the tyres for Mike? So they're soft, low temperature tyres. Are they new? Yes, they're new. Okay, same as you. But very interesting there, because the 2 Toyotas are a long way back in the safety car C queue. There's this long stream of cars in front. In fact, you see roughly where the number 8 car is. The head of the safety car queue is actually in the second chicane. So they are 12, 15 cars down in that queue. I mean, safety car A has got about 10 cars behind it. Safety car B, the other one, which is now at the Porsche curves, has probably got about a dozen cars as well. This is the big monster safety car queue, the long queue. And so the Toyota team, take no risks. We are not going to allow you to race until you're all free of that traffic.
Yeah, I think with Buemi, I mean, that little conversation there, it's got to be in his mind that Conway has been quicker.
Yeah.
All of, you know, every time the 2 drivers have been in the car, Conway has been quicker.
That may be the least twitchy Sebastian Buemi radio transmission that I can almost ever remember. He's always super aerated. There's the Rebellion team, very happy with Gustavo Menezes. They should be, actually. He's really put in star turns from the beginning of the race. First corner, he was in between the 2 Toyotas going for second. I mean, first corner of the race.
He has been very good indeed throughout this race. On the odd occasion, we've seen Gus make the odd mistake. Not here, not now. But, this is going to be an important moment in his career for sure, isn't it? To well, turn people's heads as we enter a new era in just over a season's time.
Exactly, you know, these older drivers can't be around forever, and you know he's got a chance to move up. There's going to be more factory seats available, hopefully, in the years to come, and no doubt he will be looking for a factory seat. I know he did actually test one of the factory teams, didn't he?
He did. He was part of the Bahrain rookie test. I'm trying to think. I think he did. Did he test the Audi in its final year?
That or the Porsche, I think. Yeah.
One or the other.
So you know, I remember him coming up through single seaters, got into F3, wasn't so spectacular. But now he's become a sports car driver, completely different driver, and you know, won LMP2 2-3 years ago, and now he's doing a fantastic job in the P1 car. So his career's progressing.
So remember, when it does restart, you need to remain at a constant speed without any erratic movement. That means not so much weaving, okay? When the safety car turns his lights out.
Well, now we are not being informed that we are getting ready to go back to green, but the team's way may well have been. This is why we're behind safety car number 17 SMP racing car, which was in fourth place. It was in third place, Igor Rodchev.
Yes, he was.
Going off in the Porsche curves.
It doesn't look as if that car is going to be recoverable. Just to correct myself, you're absolutely right, Peter. It was the Porsche that Gustavo tested in Bahrain a couple of years ago.
And that car has now dropped to 5th on the leaderboard, as it has gone 4 laps down. It was, in fact, it's lost 3 laps. It was 1 lap behind the Toyotas. So now moving up into 3rd place, Nat Berton taking it over from Gustavo Menezes. This race has a habit of throwing up a star turn.
Yeah.
And often only from one driver per year. And I think maybe this is the year that Gustavo gets sort of launched that extra little layer higher up the ranking, you know, in team owners and in manufacturers' perception.
Well, I think there's a couple of factors that are going to be interesting in the next couple of years. The next season, what's going to be very interesting is what happens with a number of drivers and their contractual choices to do with Formula E. There are going to be a lot of clashes next season, and there might well be chances that at the moment aren't being anticipated. That's next year, or next season. The year after that, we start with hypercar. I can tell you right here and now, I expect there to be at least 6 cars in year 1. At least 6 cars in year 1. So that again throws open chances that perhaps at the moment aren't being anticipated by many. That's without other LMP1s grandfathered in. So, and then beyond that, absolutely I expect that if they've got it right, if the budgets have been got right, if the regulations have been got right, and there are serious players that are expecting that will be the case, that it will go forward from there. What we've seen in North America, when you get the formula right, they will come. DPI has undoubtedly been a success in North America. And yes, we've had a rather stilted progress towards hypercar coming to the fore. But now, the background conversations in the paddock just behind us, gentlemen, are nothing but positive. Nothing but positive. We're not just talking here about the 2 factories, Toyota and Aston Martin, that have already declared. And that was a safety car is in this lap.
Yeah, lights just went out as we were riding on board with the 92 car. And as they went past the cameras a moment or 2 ago, you could see that there is the third, in fact, I can tell you which one, it's the Team Project 1 Porsche. The GTEM 3rd place car is between Lawrence Vantor and Daniel Serra for the lead of GTE Pro. Now, Lawrence Vantor will now not be doing any further weaving. If he hasn't got heat in the tyres, it might be easy meat for Daniel Serra. However, Serra's got to get by that car, the 56 Porsche, first. Shouldn't be overly difficult, but it really depends where they catch him. So lights out are on safety car. This is safety car B, and he will pull off at Arnage. Safety car A will pull off into the pit lane, and safety car C will pull off at the first chicane. And race control now, and the safety car drivers are trying to gauge how far each of them is from their pulling off slot, so that they all pull off at as close to the same second in the race as they possibly can.
What is too much weaving? Because he was told, be careful, don't weave too much, but he's using the whole width of the track to keep his tyres warm.
When we were on board, was the safety car not weaving in front of him as well? I mean,
yeah.
Maybe that's just that he was weaving so much the safety car looked like it was moving. No, safety car's not moving side to side. Yeah, we're heading down to Arnage. And we are waiting to go green any second now. It's going to be really hard for Daniel Serra to have a lunge from any kind of reach.
And within 60 seconds of that, we will be able to see some real-time gaps. Green flag flies.
Green, green, green. We're going again. The noise behind us as safety car A pulled off.
So Daniel Serra needs to dispatch with that Porsche straight away so he can get back on the back of Vantour.
Big twitch from an LMP2 car coming through Arnage there, big twitch.
The good news is that Serra is up against the gentleman driver, Patrick Lindsay, in this car. Lindsay on the right of your picture, Serra goes around the nose, so he is now in visual contact with the LMP, with the GTE Pro leader. Laurens Vanthoor and Daniel Serra running nose to tail. Is that the Bicoles coming through? I think it might be.
A very strong restart by Vantour, though he did take advantage. One over a second ahead now.
That was close for the Project One car. Poor Pat Lindsay trying to keep himself out of trouble. He's right at the head of the safety car queue. He's trying to preserve his pace, but also preserve his position.
One quick clarification, the 17 car has not moved from that accident site, as the number 7 car powers by a row of cars.
Well, now, it may have moved behind the wall from the accident site, but on our tracker, the GPS tracker, it still shows it down at the Porsche curve, so at karting, piste karting Alain Prost, so it may well be there for, I'm sure it is there for good, to be honest.
Real-time gap as they clear the next timing sector for the lead is 1.49 seconds between the leader, Sebastian Buemi, and Mike Conway.
Oh, you could just see the back of Buemi's car. There's Buemi, no, there's Conway shooting up the inside. And a massive queue of cars. We heard the Toyota team telling Sebastian Buemi that the gap would be frozen until they were clear of the safety car queue. But by the time Mike Conway gets clear of the safety car queue, his rival could be a minute up the road.
It's got to be super careful here.
There's a big race. Risky.
So he was trying to get by the Risi competition Ferrari. That's the second car in front of him. And then the Ford came back from alongside him to nail himself up behind the Risi Ferrari.
They're in their own battle, aren't they? It's all for position.
Well, in fact, it wasn't the Risi car, was it? That was one of the AM class cars.
The 54 car, I think.
Yeah, it was the 54 Spirit of Race Ferrari.
The lead Keating car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of Fraga.
Yeah. Well, Fraga's in a different safety car queue to all the other guys, because we saw the third-placed car was right at the front of the safety car queue that has our GTE Pro class battle, wasn't he? So he was in a different safety car queue to Fraga. And Julian Andlauer was at the tail of the safety car queue that Fraga, the leader in the AM class, is in.
Well, I tell you what, Laurens Vanthoor's weaving around to warm his tyres back up has really made a difference, because he's pulled 4.5 seconds now on Daniel Serra.
Well, he probably got a couple of those by the time Serra had managed to get round Patrick Lindsay's AM class car. It doesn't take a lot, does it? You know, we're not talking about miles or minutes. We're talking about seconds. We make it sound like it's forever and a day. It's not. Yeah, cheerio to the Toyota. Now, which of the two is that? That's the number 8 car.
Look at the speed of that car. The speed of passing made that 93 Porsche look like it was standing still. That is the third-place car of Earl Bamber, minute and 23 seconds back from Daniel Serra.
Right, so the two Toyotas are in front of us now. That was number 7 car going by, in fact. So there's 8 just going out the chicane. There's 7 just going out the chicane now. So they are nose to tail. The gap has gone out to 3.4 seconds for Sebastian Buemi, but the gloves are off. They are now free of traffic. The gap is no longer frozen. So Conway should feel free to go and attack. He couldn't have attacked anyway, because he was getting further and further held up in traffic.
We've just got a couple of LMP2 cars ahead of them coming towards Mulsanne Corner as they come through the second chicane. After that, clear track until the next remainder of the safety cars. Collis drifts on through.
Yep, few drops of rain dotted around, we know not where. We had this a little earlier in the day when it was sort of dinner time, evening time, at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and it was barely a spit. You can see them in the headlights. That's not insects or gravel. That is a few little bits of drizzly nothingness. Barely even a mist.
It's a little bit disconcerting though when you're on slicks in the darkness and you start to see these spots on your windscreen, because you're like, well, how much is this actually going to affect the track?
Those two Porsches you're looking at, Earl Bamber, the white with red and blue, and Fred Makoviecki, that's third and fourth in GTE Pro, and they are a car separated. And and it's not only, you know, what am I in now, but it's, am I going to drive into a wall of water somewhere? Now, we haven't had that sort of rain when the cars have been on track, apart from first free practice on Wednesday, but everybody was here earlier in the week, and boy, we had that kind of rain.
Yeah.
In fact, we didn't have the spitty spotty stuff, it just basically was stair rods, but it turned on and off like a tap.
The leading pair, by the way, with the two LMP2 cars coming through the Porsche curves. It's the 38 and the 30 car, so that's the Duquesne car with the 38 Jackie Chan DC racing car of Gabriel Aubry, who is third in LMP2 ahead of them.
Great look there at the driver's helmets in the car that Earl Bamber's driving now. It's in tribute to Brumos Porsche, which the 95 cars for so many years, white cars with the red and blue stripes, representing Porsche so strongly, so effectively in racing in North America, in Camel IMSA GT, and more recently in IMSA Racing, American Le Mans Series, and so on. And all three drivers have given up their normal helmet colours and gone with a livery that also carries that. Earl Bamber's got red and blue stripes with the 95s here, and I noticed that Nick Tandy's there. It wasn't 95, it was NT, the little red and white logos. And of course, the third driver, Patrick Pilet, he's French anyway, so he's gone red, white and blue straight down the middle, solid colours. I really like the way that there's this little kind of thing now going on where when you've got a unique livery, a historic livery, like with the Wins car, everybody buys into it, and the race suits and the helmets are all going as well. And of course, last year's winners, the 92 Porsche, as you said, that was in the historic pink pig livery, and they went with the pink overalls, and in fact they even went with pink helmets.
This is the lead battle. Mike Conway 1.2 seconds back as they cross the last timing beam.
2 seconds, oh well, almost 2 seconds quicker on that last lap, second and a half, say. So, yep, Buemi will have his mirrors full now of Mike Conway.
And don't forget, Conway didn't clear the last of the traffic until after Tercharouz going onto the straight. So it wasn't even an entire lap that he got that time back. He wasn't clear of traffic until halfway down to the first chicane.
Well, he's had a clear run at him because the two LMP2 cars that were the remaining traffic both pitted. So he's had a clear run through the Porsche curves and onto the first part of this lap, and he's dragging his way onto the rear of that number 8 Toyota, isn't he?
Roman Rusinov has taken over the lead car in LMP2 from Job van Uitert, and that G-Drive Racing LMP2 car is now in 6th place overall. The SMP Racing car will go no further, and it has recorded how many? 163 laps. So now the rest of the LMP2 field within 2 laps will be ahead of it, and SMP Racing's number 17 will plunge down the leaderboard. But you're right, the little bit of elastic that separated Buemi from Conway is now twanging tight. There's not 2 point anything, there's not 1 point anything, it's point something of a second, and Conway is going to attack.
That will be on Buemi's mind, you know, for sure.
Yeah.
Even to the point where, dare I say, he might make the odd mistake as he's trying to stay ahead of Conway.
I think, having heard a relatively calm radio message from Sebastian Buemi during the safety car, next time he's on the radio, it might be a little bit more agitated.
I'm guessing he's not the easiest character to manage, Sebastian Buemi.
He does hit the rev limiter quite quickly.
I'm guessing that he probably gives the HR department the odd difficult day.
Well, actually, particularly in Formula E, the first words of almost any message from his engineer are "Calm, Seb."
There's something coming out of the back. Smoke's coming out of the back.
Is it misting?
It's covering the windscreen, look. Is it
spray? Is the track damp there?
Mike's windscreen's getting all marked up. I don't know if that was
dust, maybe.
No, I can't think.
After leaving the commentary booth a little while earlier, was up in the press room with the Daily Sports Car crew and my colleague Stephen Kilby.
No,
yes, definitely something.
Yeah,
definitely something. Said that he was seeing something coming from the rear of the 7 Toyota, but there was definitely something coming from the 8.
And there's oil all over that windscreen. And bearing in mind, he stopped not long ago, did he? So it would have been cleaned.
Well, have they just overfilled the oil system? They have these pressure bottles that they jam in and it pumps oil in. You would think that a car this sophisticated, that's not possible. And he's
definitely smoking.
He is smoking.
Smoking more and more heavily now.
He is smoking. Now, if you were following him and you were a rival, you would be smiling gleefully. The problem now for Conway is, I'm in the same car.
This could be a World Championship defining moment.
Basically, the way this works for the crew of number 7, they're behind in the championship. Winning the race is not enough. If the number 8 car finishes anywhere in the top 8 prototype cars, and that includes LMP2, so it doesn't matter if there are no other LMP1 cars running, if the number 8 car drops behind a bunch of LMP2 cars, it could lose the championship.
30 minutes that would take, a 30-minute delay, and it's out of the top 8.
Except there are still 13 hours late. So basically, it needs an hour delay, because in the next 12 hours, it could catch up those 30 minutes ahead of a whole bunch of LMP2 cars without too much problem. We saw that happen with the Porsche the last time they won, coming back from a long way behind, I mean, barely on page 1 of the timing screen, through the GT and LMP2 field to eventually take victory.
Well, if Toyota has seen what we've seen, I would expect that number 8 car to be pitting.
Toyota can't have not seen what we're seeing, but what we're not seeing is the sea of information that they are seeing. The car might be giving him the big thumbs up. Yep, all okay. It's
no
not
sign
a problem
of him
here.
slowing down here whatsoever. He's matching, in fact, bettering by the odd 10th, Mike Conway at the moment.
Well, why would he be slowing down? I mean, unless the car slows him.
No, it's definitely still there.
And it's not a hint either, is it?
No,
it's there all the time. It doesn't sound any different, but it won't until it goes clatter, 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 bang. You know, it's just not going to make any different noises until it eventually expires. If it eventually expires. He's not coming in the pits.
He's not coming in the pits.
He's not due a stop.
So Conway only 0.3 of a second, or 4 now, behind him.
That's not lasting 13 hours, 1 minute and 40 seconds. Not doing that.
That's getting worse, isn't it?
That's not going to do another 13 laps.
I'm surprised they didn't have him in then.
Well, the only other possible explanation is he's got something rubbing underneath that car.
But you wouldn't have oils.
It looks like it's under power.
You wouldn't have the smears all over Conway's windscreen. Peter's exactly right. He only just stopped. How many laps ago? 3, 4? So the windscreen will be relatively clear.
8 laps now.
All right.
But a lot of them were behind safety car as well.
All right, it might be that something in the safety car queue was chucking it out at him. But that doesn't stop the fact that the Toyota's smoking. So either something engine transmission is smoking, or it's rubbing its belly on the ground, in which case it's going to do that for 13 hours. It's not going to have a plank left.
No, not smoking then. It is smoking there.
Yeah.
As we get to the end of another hour.
Well, thank goodness it's not raining, because you'd never see that in the spray behind the car. But you're seeing it every single time the car's illuminated. Oh, come on, look at that now.